But in this lesson, what we're going to do is learn a little bit about congruency to start with, and then work with some corresponding sides and angles. Now, congruency is something that you actually see every day. So you might see in nature, you see lots and lots of shapes that are exactly the same and they are stuck up against one another. Now this hexagon here is congruent to the one next to it. You've got some roof tiles, same thing. You've got those roof tiles congruent to one another and they fit together perfectly. You might see it in tiled floors. Different colours but exactly the same shape. They have to be the exact same shape and size for shapes to be considered congruent. You might see it outside in building. Now these shapes are congruent, these triangles are the same, they just are turned around. So they just because they are rotated does not mean they can't be congruent. The most common one you'll see is brickwork. Okay, look anywhere around the school, anywhere on buildings outside of the school, you will see congruent shapes. Again, they might not be stacked up one on top of the other perfectly, but they are exactly the same shape, otherwise the wall will not be stable. So what we're looking at is different types of congruent shapes. So we've got a pair of triangles to start with and then a pair of quadrilaterals with 4 sides. If you have a look first of all to start with A, B, C, we can name this triangle triangle A, B, C. And I want you to get used to seeing these types of symbols. This here then makes it triangle D, E, F. Now you see the corners of the shape are labelled and we call them the vertices. Each point is a vertex, and when they say that this is A, it's referring to the join made by these 2 lines. Okay, there's a lot of different symbols we need to use, so please try and take some notes and keep them straight. So this triangle A, B, C is going to have a few things in common with triangle D, E, F, because they are actually a congruent pair. They are the same shape but rotated. So what we need to find out is which ones correspond. Now when we talk about shapes, the word corresponding is talking about the matching side or the equivalent side, things like that. And we're going to use the symbol with double arrows here. Okay, so in this case, vertice or vertex A is corresponding to vertex D over here. So A corresponds to D, which means if we rotated this shape around, we would have this shape right there. Now, if we want to talk about sides, we write them like this. This is side BC. And we have a little line above it to indicate that it is indeed a line and it is a side of this shape. Now, if I highlight this one and say BC has a corresponding line on the other triangle, we have to think about, all right, if I rotated this shape around and A corresponds to D, if we rotate it, we will get BC corresponds to EF. Now it is really important that we talk about the correct order in which they go. So if we've got this kind of pointy end of the triangle here and this pointy end here, we go from A to B will be the same as going from D to E. It's not the same as saying E to D, different direction. So when I write this one, I'm going to say BC corresponds to side EF. Okay, and this is the kind of symbols we will be using. So get used to writing them sides with that line above them. So we don't just look at vertices or sides, we also look at angles. And the way that we draw the angle symbol is like this. So we're going to find an angle that corresponds with another angle. Angles are are named using the letters as well. So you will still see these letters in use. Let's talk about this angle here, this corner angle and the pointy end. Now we are going to go from our F vertex, and F corresponds over here to C. So we can actually write that one. F corresponds to C. And we are going to go from F up to our yellow angle and back down, which means we followed the path of F, D, E. Okay, so we're looking now at angle F, D, E. We get into the trap of saying, all right, this angle is on this vertex, but we can't just say angle D. That doesn't make sense. D is part of it, it's in the middle, but the corresponding angle must have 3 single letters. All right, so we've gone from F to D to E for this angle. We now need to find the corresponding one over here, and we said F corresponds to C, so we now need to go C, A, B to get this angle. So C, A, B.